Well, that can't be good.
So, this is my buddy Marc. Marc wants to troop C2E2 as an officer. I told him it shouldn't be a problem. And I figure if I'm doing one, might as well make one for myself too, right? So here we go. That's what we're going to do. Let's start by cutting everything out.
So there's not actually a lot that makes up an officer. The back, the front, side pockets. It's not bad. I think it's achievable. Let's see how much fabric we've got. I got everything chalked out. There's enough for 2 officers here. And then the lining. Let me play in the lining. The lining's kind of entertaining. I have 2 different lining here, right? Mine and then Marc's. And if I'm honest with myself, Marc's a Mandalorian, right? Not a big surprise. That's his favorite costume. It just called to him. I saw this fabric and went, that's the lining. Done. I'm super happy with it. I think I have enough for the hat as well, if I'm doing hats. I'm not sure. No matter what, we're not filming hats. I already have a video where I did hats. I'm not doing another video. I have everything cut out and broadly pinned together. I have 2 hats and both linings. The lining for the jacket, the front yoke, the back and princess seams, and then the front side pockets. Yeah, this should be everything. I'm probably going to start with the back and the princess seams because they're the most annoying. I get them out of the way, they're done, right? Then I'll probably move on to this one, and you know, none of this has been lined yet either, or interfaced. None of it's been interfaced yet. So I'll probably cut that out and do it next. I have the princess seams pinned on this one. I need to pin these. You ever wonder, just stop and wonder how we got here? Like the actual path that took us to this point. Could I have, at any point in time, foreseen I would be making 2 jackets, 2 Star Wars jackets, for 2 Muppets? And I know, unless they come from the Muppet region of France, they're just sparkling puppets. Still. Alright, I'm going to pin this one, and then we're going to sew them both. And I'll see you in a minute. Well, a couple minutes for me, a few seconds for you. So I changed my mind. Instead of pressing everything now, I was going to do the pocket for the lapel. It's just a quick stitch, and everything gets flipped over and then folded weird. So I'm going to do the stitch and then bring you in so you can see where we go from here. Because I think that's part of the part a lot of people who are making the costume have problems with. So that's our next step. Alright, so rather than bringing you back there, I figured I'd come out here. A little more room out here. So this first one is just the top stitch stitched on, right? We flip everything over and fold it down. We fold from this line up over, and then we flip everything over and we trim this edge is a little long. We trim it up here. I'll bring you in so you can get a tighter view and see what we're talking about. So you can see the stages, right? The first one's just stitched across at the top. The second one is flipped over, and the first one's stitched right side to right side. It gets flipped over. I know it's real hard to see and black, but you know, I'll do what I can. And then it gets folded over and then stitched down, and everything's trimmed up. It's actually kind of simple once you get the hang of it, and then the yoke just gets stitched down to the front there. So this is the inside. I'm going to do a zigzag stitch along this edge, and this edge I'm going to do a shallow one so I make sure it's less than my seam allowance, so it doesn't show. That way this piece effectively becomes one solid piece. Like I said, this is the inside. This is the right side, and that forms a pocket right in here that the dosimeter can rest. I'm going to do a zigzag on all these. We'll pick it back up in a second. So I have the front yoke and the front side, the back yoke and the back side. They overlap, so this side goes on top of this side. But I'm going to flip this over so it's right side to right side. I'm going to pin it, and then I'm going to sew this entire length. Alright, a couple things real quick. You notice how this yoke here kind of goes this way? You do that by pushing the seam down the opposite direction. So that makes this lay on top. It just makes for a cleaner look. If it were the other way, it wouldn't look right. So I want to press this flat and then press this over that way. Also, that's where the interfacing comes in. Let me show you that real quick. Once everything is pressed down, that big piece of interfacing just goes over both sides. You could do each piece individually. There's nothing wrong with that. But just putting it over like this makes everything one solid piece. You want to put the interfacing on after you press everything down. And that's where we're at now. So I'm going to go inside, iron everything flat, and then be back in a minute. Sewn and pressed. I'm going to trim everything up. Next, I'm going to sew the collars right side to right side. It's just going to be all the way around. You'll see what I mean. So this is what I meant. I just did an L and flipped it right side out, cut the corners, flipped it right side out, pressed it flat. That's all you really have to do for the collar. Most people overthink it. Don't overthink it. We are starting with the back. The back is just laid out, front side up. Now I'm going to grab a front and put them front side up too and pin them at the shoulders. So now we just stitch along the top shoulder. None of things are going to go together. It's going to happen real quick. So I'm just going to start with that. So now at this point, everything that happens to the shell is getting done to the lining as well. So when I stitch the top shoulder seam, I'm going to do it to the lining. When I put on the sleeves, I'm going to do it to the lining. When I stitch everything together, do it to the lining. So from this point on, everything that happens to the shell also happens to the lining. I've laid out the sleeve. I put it right side to right side and pinned it down. So right here. I just pinned it all along the edge. And I'm going to do the same thing to the other one. I have to do it 3 more times. Most people would only have to do it 1 more. But since I'm making 2, that's where we're at. Once we hem up the sides, this is what we're left with. It's almost a jacket. Luckily, the lining's in the same condition. And all we gotta do is start putting sleeves together. Just to get an inside look on how the sleeves are put together, they're just laid in, put together at the armpit, and then stitched. That's it. It's the easiest way to do sleeves ever. I am notoriously bad at sleeves. So what I've tried to do is I put the back, the wrong side to wrong side together, turned the sleeve right side out, or inside out. You can see it over on the left there. Tucked it in, pinned it. We're going to do that to both sides and see what happens. Maybe it'll work. We'll find out. We'll find out together. That worked remarkably well. So now I've put a pin in the center of the collar, in the center of the back, and in the center of the lining. And we're going to flip everything inside out and pin it all up. I'll show you what that looks like in a second. So here's what I have. We've pinned the whole edge together. The collar was centered, and we're just going to stitch all over the whole thing. Doesn't matter. This is my hair. I had a pin in my hair. Those things get everywhere. It's raining. It's been 8 million degrees recently. A little bit of rain's nice. So the pins go all the way around. We're going to pin the whole thing, then we're going to sew the whole thing. I'm going to leave a gap about that couple inches in the very center back to flip everything around. Other than that, the jacket is almost done. Neat. So here we are. Look at this thing. Got my DOS meters. Don't have a rank bar yet, but still. Look at it. It fits fantastic. Damn. Oh my god. I know I've done this before, and every time I'm like, I can't believe the thing I tried actually worked. It's cool. I'm excited. If you're excited, thanks for making it to the end. Like and subscribe. Oh, I still have the hat to do, but that's not gonna. I'm not gonna film that. Filming adds a lot of time to this stuff, and I'm not in the mood for that right now. I still have to finish the other one, but wow, check it out. I'm an officer. It's neat. Hey, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.